So, to recap, we're on very shady international diplomacy. We're going to get the king. And also we got sidetracked by a lot of nonsense involving a very, very violent child. Is that about where we're at?
Indeed. And I guess that segues directly into the bit where we are now chasing two other children with bloodlust, just in a completely different manner.
One of whom we must reiterate is the king.
Why don't you jump in?
The king who is fated to apparently bring ruin on the entire country by looking at the fishermen bring in the catch.
Alright, enough.
And also which we are fated to bring further ruin on by looking at, by being outsiders.
Isn't that King Laticon and the other boy?
Hey guys, do you want to maybe walk down there, introduce yourselves?
Aw, look, Gib,
say literally anything?
Why couldn't we save time and take the cloud passage like everyone else?
Take it easy, Khan. The cloud passage is unstable this time of year. You can't walk because the road's all broken up. Trust me, the Lesser Celestial River is way faster.
Really?
Hey, which one of us used to be a fisherman? The rivers and roads here are like my backyard.
Okay, but how do we cross?
That's where this thing comes in. It's for making clouds. The fishermen of Nashira use it to move between the Lesser Celestial River and the Cloud Passage while they look for the best spot to fish.
I get it. So wherever we can't cross, we just take a detour through the Cloud Passage.
Thank you, King Laticon, for quickly explaining the gimmick of this extremely shitty dungeon.
My ass. Let's give this thing a spin, huh?
Also, when you say "I get it," you're implying that the situation as has been presented to you makes literally any sense.
Huh?
Which is not a thing that I can really agree with right now.
Spin! Spin!
I got so distracted worrying about the metaphysics of all this that I forgot about the real physics of all this also not making any sense. Also, that was quite a kick.
Oh, of course I do.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive that he just, fucking drop-kicked that, but also...
from a standstill.
There. See? It's all taken care of.
Oh, I see. Is that how this works? I get it. I understand everything now.
So this dungeon is fantastic because it's not one dungeon, it's two dungeons simultaneously.
It's multi-layered stuff. What if we just had a whole secret layer of additional JRPG nonsense that you can't see and you have to, flip between? I am certain that this won't at all get very annoying.
Wow! You can walk on the clouds here!
They're so fluffy. What an unsettling place.
A highway of clouds. Places like this make you realize how big the world really is.
Does it?
Hey, look! Over there! Imperial soldiers!
I feel like they're reaching for a kind of wow, you sure see a lot of wild things when you go exploring kind of a vibe.
What are they doing here?
And they kind of flub the metaphor.
Anything about it?
I've got a really bad feeling about this. Let's hurry. We have to catch up to the king.
So yeah, I feel like I can already tell you all the things that one would not like about this dungeon as a set piece. But maybe the game will surprise me.
Well, you know, we're gonna start with a little bit of fighting. We've got our favorite Mucky Yucky boys, who have picked up exactly one new thing of interest, an extremely damaging attack called Electro Charge, I think it's called. It's just a big tackle that does electric damage. They are otherwise not very interesting.
Presumably it's still a breath of fresh air from the volcano nonsense.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Like, that would make anything seem better.
The enemies here are roughly split between electric and ice, so, you know, fire and thunder cards are the way to go here. Yeah, see, that didn't even do that much damage. That was like, what, 350?
Yeah, this is all totally normal and reasonable.
So yeah, had we entered the Cloud Passage, we would have been on the other side of that gap, and so we would have had to have leave and gone back to the river.
So yeah, this seems like some just weird, arbitrary JRPG progression-breaking nonsense. Like, yeah, everything is messed up here. Why? Because the designers had this idea for a gimmick dungeon. That's why. All circular justification. I hate it all.
I think they're called fogs, but our big lizard friend here has... Yeah, there we go. So he'll cast Overheat, which sets him on fire, gives him all of those relevant attributes, and also makes him do like twice as much damage. But it is quickly cancelable if you hit him with a water card, so...
Wow, so realistic. Like, I forget, have these things always been a thing? Like, have people always just been able to casually jump up between the river and the clouds like this?
Gib, can you see
I mean,
that?
Gibari does imply that is how the fishermen tend to get around here.
Rainbow? Why has a rainbow got to be out at a time like this?
Also, I don't remember these
We
from
can't go
the
back
last
to the mirror
game,
now.
so like I can only assume something happened to them.
Relax, I've got the royal mirror right here. It's a keepsake from my mother, so I always carry it with me.
Way to go, Khan. Here, let me borrow it for a sec.
Still not gonna go over and like, hey, we're on business.
All right, let's go. If we dawdle, we'll miss the fishermen coming in.
Millie's trying it. She's had the idea.
I'm beginning to wonder if the brain cell is just MIA right now.
Also, did they just drop that? Yeah.
They sure did.
Okay.
So we're gonna stuff it in a Magnus so that we can take it out of the Magnus and do the exact same thing Gibari was doing, and then when we're done, we'll put it back in the Magnus for safekeeping.
Yep. And of course, we have to sign off on this as the player. Like, yep, this is totally good and normal.
It is a little obnoxious to find the right angle that it wants to dispel some of these rainbows,
Yeah, that does not look like it has literally any feedback.
It doesn't. You just kind of have to let it sit there for a couple seconds until the cutscene starts.
Great. Cool. Good. Game design. It's like I said, the game can surprise me. I thought I knew what were going to be the garbage things. But they do have a way.
The old fish boys. These guys don't really have anything notable going on, other than doing, like, a lot of water damage, but they do drop a very interesting item. They will occasionally drop their liquor, and that is a 900 HP healing item at the cost of knocking down whoever uses it for, like, a second. It's extremely good.
Again, with the realism. Doesn't... Like, I don't know.
What a strange
Doesn't seem like there's much of interest about the battle layouts here. It's just like it's some stuff.
This one's not great. This is by far the worst encounter in the area. So, like, you may recall from our time in the ruins back in Hasala that these little, like, seahorse fuckers are healers, but now they're healers with a gun. So they either do a triple cast of ice damage, and it is quite a bit of ice damage, or they will just casually drop, like, 200 damage on the entire party at once.
Cool.
This'll do.
Not aggravating at all. I kind of feel like it defeats the purpose of this kind of encounter to have the healers be doing damage like that. Like, I don't know, unless you can game the AI by, like, doing damage to the big guy so that they heal it instead of damaging you, and you balance the distraction damage with the actual damage, like, I don't know, that'd be valid. Can you do that?
I mean, you could do that, but I'd just fucking try to murder them in one go.
That's certainly also valid. I'm just saying, there's normally a theory at work here.
May my blade be sharp.
So the armadillo can cast armor on himself, as you could probably expect, and also still has armadillo attack for good measure. So, you know, that's a fun 350 damage surprise every so often.
Yeah, just because it's a breath of fresh air compared to the volcano nonsense doesn't mean it's gonna actually go easy on you. That would be ridiculous.
I mean, it should be said that, yes, this area is substantially easier than the volcano was. But I feel like that also kind of makes sense. The volcano was definitely, like, the end of area dungeon for the Empire, and this is the first dungeon in Diadem, so...
Pacing. We do it. But, like, also speaking of pacing, like, yeah, I'm looking at the runtime of, like, what we've, like, actually accomplished versus how long it's taken to do it, and also remembering that, you know, the runtime has had some battles cut out of it. So it's like, we've made a tiny incremental bit of progress, and it seems to have taken forever.
Oh, it does. This dungeon is absolutely awful in terms of, like, actual real progression time. Like, the raw video for this dungeon is 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Huh. Well, that's suggestive of something awful. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, there's one more gimmick that we have not seen yet.
Oh, there's more!
Oh, you didn't think that just this mirror thing and bouncing between the two was the dungeon's gimmick? Oh, no, no, no. There's still one more thing it has up its sleeve.
I mean, I dare to hope. But I guess I did say, the game can surprise me, one way or the other, and I guess it's gonna be that way. We can't say I did not account for the possibility. But yeah, there's something to be said for, like, criticizing games on the basis of, like, even when things don't actually take, like, massively long, there's some things that just feel like they take forever. Even if they're, like, not taking up a very large absolute amount of time, but, like, that kind of stuff adds up and it feels really bad. Like, I got my standard standby about how, like, stuff in games is usually forgivable if it's out of the way fast enough. And, like, the time frames involved are a little bit weird to pin down, but normally I'm like, anything that's like over in a second is normally not gonna register as a problem. And, like, you get into things that, like, take, you know, like a minute. A minute is not a very long amount of time in absolute terms, but, like, something in a game that drags on for a minute with you doing nothing just, like, kind of feels awful to do. Like, you get this little, this stop tension in games, like even stuff like loading screens. The regular problem that games have is like you do something and you fail and you have to do a loading screen to try again, and the loading screen is like, you know, maybe it's like 20 seconds, say, and like you think, well, what that can't be that bad, but it turns out that it feels awful. Especially if you fail repeatedly, or you fail because of bullshit reasons, or, you know, any of the classics. Time is really, really important in games. If you talk to me about video games long enough, I will eventually consider... I will eventually tell you what I consider to be, like, the cardinal sin of game design. Is wasting the player's time. It's bad, always and everywhere. And not only is it bad always and everywhere, but, like, everything that you've ever hated about every game that you've ever disliked, the reason you hate it is probably because of that. One way or another, it comes down to that. That's my opinion for today.
We got a few things from that last encounter. We did get our first thing of Cancerite Wine, which is, again, very good healing item, temporarily knocks you down, not really a big deal. We also fought the Frog, which is the actual healer of this area, and we picked up a light finisher for Gilo. Don't think too hard about that one, just put a pin in that for now.
I'm sorry. I wouldn't say I lost it, though. It's more like I just don't have it.
I haven't lost it, I just don't know where it is.
Yeah, it's nowhere to be found. I can't believe it. Con?
Whatever. If it's gone, it's gone.
But it means so much to you.
Don't make such a face, Gib. You'll scare the clouds away. Come on.
He is absolutely silently plotting to have Gibari executed. Anyway, what was with the star post?
Don't worry about it. We're gonna come back to that in a minute.
It's probably nothing.
I'm not entirely sure how Gibari and Lodicon got on, like, the actual progression path, and we had to do all of this up and down bullshit, but...
it's chasing someone through a JRPG dungeon. You know how this works. They never have to go through the same bullshit we do. So it's just like one of the laws. It's just an operational principle in video game worlds. Okay, so like, tell me this. Is there at least, like, perceivable, consistent spatial relationship between the transfer points that we see down here and the transfer points that we see in the sky?
Yes.
Like, okay, so like at the very least, they're merely being unreasonable about in how much perfect detail they expect you to recall what you're seeing in each area.
Yeah, no, each screen, like, up and down, does directly correspond with what's where, so...
Oh, that's something. At least they cleared that bar. Also, like, I guess you can, like, since they pointed out here, you can, like, actually see the ground below from above, although with the pre-rendered angles it's not always that helpful. Oh, okay. I can't help but notice that that angle is blind when we actually take the shot.
Not only is that angle blind, that angle makes absolutely no fucking sense, considering how high we're aiming up at it to begin with.
Oh yeah, that too. But I think that I've given up on the physics here. Like that's not registering anymore. It's a video game light puzzle mirror. It doesn't have to make sense. It has error correction. It's just like, you know, here's the thing: you shine a beam into it, it tends to beam in a direction. Physics don't apply. Only game design.
Well, the good news is we are now done with the mirror.
I'm sensing a butt incoming.
And that is just in time for us to pick up the second gimmick of this dungeon. See, it's very easy to forget this because we've never had to use it at this point. But we've had a Magnus mixer for basically most of the game.
Oh yeah.
And it turns out that we're not going to leave this dungeon until we know how to use it.
Do we not know how to use it?
I mean, that's a distinct possibility. You've never had to use it up to this point. You know, I have the strangest feeling that we're going to need to learn how to make a cloud, so, you know, I think this is a good idea.
Like, I could not, like, in the abstract be less interested, but I feel like we don't actually have a choice here. Ah, uh-huh. Boiling salt water. What was I just saying about having completely checked out of the physics here? Because, like, I feel like that one's just kind of too easy. I'm just gonna let it slide. Let's be sporting about this.
So before we can leave, we are going to have to make a cloud. And in order to do so, we have to combine pristine water and a blaze, and it must be those specifically. A weaker fire or a less pure water will not do. And then we have to go do 3 battles. After the conclusion of those 3 battles, it will prompt us to add the salt, at which point we will do so, have to do another battle, And only then will we get our cloud.
That is incredible. Like, I don't even know what to say to this. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm not doing that thing where I'm being like, oh, I got nothing, and then I go into a big speech, which I obviously have had the whole time, and I only said that I had nothing to say as for a rhetorical purpose. I do not know what to say in response to that. I'm literally stalling by saying all this now. That's how bad it's gotten.
So I hope you appreciate, like, the 15 minutes that just transpired off-screen. You're welcome.
I did not appreciate them at all, but I'm very grateful for them not having transpired on screen. So what was I saying about things like not taking that long, but feeling like they took forever? That's out the window. This is just burning time now. Literally
No good, Con.
waiting for
Can't
water
go
to
any
boil.
further.
I know! Out of the way, Gib! It's only a dead end if you're dead!
I'll say this though. The fact that we have to add salt to it, like
Your
while
turn,
it's
Gib.
boiling, and then we boil it with the salt in it, is remarkably consistent with the fact that it only works with pristine water without impurities.
Con, sometimes you're
Now,
a
whether
bigger
that's
lunatic
deliberate,
than me.
but who the hell
I don't know.
knows?
I'd say we're about even.
Maybe we are.
Anyway, this is normal.
I mean, that's how I cross gaps on my way to work.
Just footstool jumping on some birds. Whatever. Now, I bet we can't do that.
Oh, absolutely not. This is the point where if you did not have a cloud, the game would be like, well, guess you're gonna have to figure something out, huh? But fortunately, we thought ahead, and we did not have to go back and do all those fights just to go back to get the materials, and then do more fights to make the cloud, and then do a bunch more fights to get back here.
I've lost count of the number of layers of complete bullshit at work here. Like, what the fuck?